Your conduct concerning federal records raises further questions. It is a crime to destroy federal records. Yet our investigation reveals your assistant diligently reported that she deleted tons of emails. In 2024, you testified that you did not delete federal records. Who's telling the truth, you or your assistant?
Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that?
Oh, boy. Republican senators calling out Dr. Anthony Fauci to his face. He was there under subpoena, as you know, to answer lawmakers' questions, but instead invoked the Fifth Amendment 111 times. Joining me now, Chief Patient Officer at the wellness company, Dr. Drew Pinsky. Doctor, always good to see you. Welcome in.
Thank you so much. Appreciate being here.
You know, it's so galling to so many of us who are not doctors that on top of all the lies that we've seen in the diary and elsewhere, that now there are documents that were apparently destroyed. Fauci seems to be a coward and will not face the music. I wonder, for you as a doctor, a professional, the idea that he misled so many millions of people and then may have deleted emails and covered things up seems like a big red flag. What's going through your mind as a professional?
Well, I got a bunch of ideas. One is I really appreciated Senator Moreno's comments, who said, you know, you got on media, you made these sweeping recommendations, and idiot politicians followed your recommendations. And that's where things really broke down. This idea that he doesn't he doesn't shut anything down, he has no relation to these things, of course, is materially false. The idiot politicians, like my great state of California, followed him to a letter and then kept it shut down and damaged untold lives. The other thing that people don't understand is, for public health, they have no mandate to do no harm. Francis Collins is on the record saying they decided they want to stop their virus no matter what. They didn't care who else they hurt along the way. They just focused on the virus. That is crazy.
Yes.
That is not the way to practice medicine. Similarly, what happens to doctors when they get in the media? They become excited. They get too aroused by it. When they take care of special people, I've seen this over and again, and it adulterates them. And I think that happened to Dr. Fauci here.
You led me perfectly to what I want to talk about, which is the media. He courted these luminaries in the mainstream media. We see it throughout the diary. It's been documented, the Fauci diary, during COVID, dining with CNN's Jake Tapper. And the doctor wrote in his diary, wow, this friendship with Jake is blooming. And then Tapper covers for Fauci then. But my point, I guess, is even now Tapper is covering for him. People noticing that yesterday on his show, Tapper had no real questions about Fauci's lies, but instead went after a Republican senator. Watch.
But I do think that there are some serious questions about where Mitch McConnell is, and they've now posted the second photo. But I don't know if they know this, but the camera function on your phone actually also has a video function. So if Mitch McConnell wanted to say something, instead of just smiling in a different shirt, he could.
Doctor, I'm not here to cover for Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. I agree that there should be more transparency at what's going on. But why won't CNN and Jake Tapper ask more questions and hold up some emails, some diary entries, play some sound bites on CNN and elsewhere where Fauci clearly lied? They seem to only want to go after Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Thank goodness we have social media now, and we have outlets like yours, where people look at the facts as they were presented in this hearing today, and it was really rather extraordinary. I learned a ton. I was listening with my wife, and she was saying she didn't know all these things, and I knew some of this stuff. But the thing I keep getting back to, and you brought it up here in him courting the media, is how turned on he was by being, the most famous man in the world. That if a physician becomes that way, it is so profoundly adulterating to his or her judgment. You have to simply use the media as a tool. It's to get information out. It's to be helpful. It's to educate people. But it's to, hey, look at me. This is going to be a disaster. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, same thing is true in terms of courting relationships with celebrities. That should mean nothing to you. That is just a bunch of other people doing their job. They happen to be public figures. But he was also very much interested in that.
Yes. I want to give you one more diary entry on that, and then we'll make the more serious, broader point. In the diary, he has an entry about the lovely model Tyra Banks. And he writes, quote, one person said Tyra was sexy, but I was even more sexy than she was. I mean, you've used the word adulterated a couple of times, I think aroused as well. I mean, this guy was obsessed with himself, and there's something, it's like an aphrodisiac. Wasn't it Henry Kissinger who said power is the greatest aphrodisiac back in the Nixon days? It was an aphrodisiac for this guy.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. And these senators in the hearing today sort of pointed that out. And, you know, I have to be honest, I was a fan of Dr. Fauci's most of his career. And I think back to where during the AIDS pandemic, I was deep in that pandemic taking care of patients. And Dr. Fauci was helpful. He was a guiding light. He helped us make decisions and tell us what to do. But he didn't mandate what to do. And he wasn't in the media. So it wasn't adulterating his judgment. He was more interested in being in the media, being famous, you know, having his way with there a lot of people during this pandemic showed the fact that they like telling other people how to live their lives, and that is a very, very scary impulse.
So the big question then, God forbid there's another pandemic in the next few years. How do we restore public trust in these doctors, in science, or can we?
Well, we can. We have to look at these things, and people have to apologize and be clear where they got things wrong. But ultimately, we have to take the position that there's no emergency where we give up our rights. The government is not allowed to supersede our God-given natural rights. That's it, period. We can advise, we can be advised, there can be incentives, but they can't mandate this stuff. It is reprehensible.
Absolutely. Dr. Drew Pinsky from the Wellness Company. Thank you, sir.